Should all our triumphs be forgot, the blood and sweat and toil, for ne'er were we a melting pot, for ours is blood and soil. For ours is blood and soil, my sons, for ours is blood and soil, that our great race ne'er be replaced, for ours is blood and soil. We bear the torch of Europe still, our hearts with duty loyal. No more the blood of brothers spill, for ours is blood and soil. For ours is blood and soil, my sons, for ours is blood and soil, that our great race ne'er be erased, for ours is blood and soil. That we should flourish in our land, ne'er from our fight recoil. Come, fathers, brothers, hand in hand, for ours is blood and soil. For ours is blood and soil, my sons, for ours is blood and soil, that our great race ne'er be disgraced, for ours is blood and soil.
Good evening and welcome to all the listeners. This is the first MANologue episode, Beliefs Defined Through Action. I'd like to open this with a statement, or a thought rather. It is not a man's beliefs that define him, but rather those beliefs that he is willing to act upon. The last couple of weeks and months, I've done a lot of reflection on the whole white nationalist movement, as well as what do we do going forward in South Africa? What do we do going forward in our respective countries? How do we create the world that we want to live in? And I wouldn't say that I do have the answer, but I've looked at my own life and looked at the steps that I took that have put me closer toward that goal, that have put me more in line with these values. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about today. Also, I want to talk to you about some common misconceptions, or rather things that we repeat but that we don't believe ourselves, right? Too often people say things that they heard somebody else say. They just parrot ideas, but they haven't thought or invested anything into these ideas themselves, or tried to approach this to find a solution to these ideas for themselves. Things like, things will never be the same as what it were. Things will never return to the way that it was. We have, which is ultimately saying that we are defeated and that we can't win. And, one of my friends once told me, we had this discussion, and I told him about a period of time where I was very nihilistic, and I lost my core belief systems, and I was in a very, how do you say it, unstable place in my life, but yet I still held true to my core values. And then he said, the interesting thing that he said to me was that the reason why you held true or stayed true to your core values was because you felt that some point in the future, even if it wasn't now, you were going to be called to account on that values. And that's why I say we shouldn't despair, because the mere fact that people are still alive and haven't ended their own lives is evidence enough to tell you that there is hope. They, even if it's just some small semblance, they still hope in a future. They may not know how to word this, they may not know how to envision this future. And that's due to the lack of community that we have. That's due to the lack of leadership that we have. But the possibility is still there. And we need to consolidate might through unity if we're going to change anything. We have to approach what is being done to us as a collective in a collective fashion. Oh, yes, you know, there is no such thing as individualism for us anymore. We can't afford this mindset, right? And this goes to each and every respective aspect of life, with whether it be having children, whether it be um, what career you choose, all of this. We have to fashion ourselves in a way through our choices that support our worldview, that support the future that we are looking to build. You see, it does not help that we say we believe in a united white world, or in white people collectively fighting for their countries, again, fighting to reclaim their fatherlands. It does not help, but then we go and we enlist in the United States military and we go fight for Zog. It does not help. We say we hate degeneracy and we hate what women have become, yet you stay with your girlfriend without being married to her. Yet you live a hedonistic lifestyle. You do drugs, you do alcohol, you do whatever. Then you do not believe what you say you believe, because your actions are proving that you are lying to your community and to yourself. And the time for action is now. The time for you to change the man that you are is today. I was once a man that had given up on the future of our people. I was once a man that was not convinced that we could win. I was once a man that had been defeated in through my own convictions. However, that changed. And that changed only by my willingness to act on my beliefs. And through acting on my beliefs, I have changed my life in a way that I now have a family. I believe I have a future, and I have a community, and I have prospects for the future, of which I'm very hopeful for. I'm very opportunistic about, or excited for, you see. And I would urge you to do the same. Otherwise, you have no right to call yourselves um, akin to our struggle. Another thing that I was thinking of is too often, this is things that I hear often in South Africa, right? I'm not sure you hear this in the United States or in Europe, Australia, or New Zealand, but it is possible, seeing as our cultures are so subverted that we've become this almost collective of cultureless white people around the world. All right. So it is probable that you would have heard the following phrases in your own turn, whether you be in any other white country in the world. Often people say that the time for action is not here. Right? The time is not right yet. Certain things need to happen. Right? For instance, I'll make a practical, how do you say, example of this. People will tell you, some young men will tell you, I don't want to take a wife and a child because There is a war about to break out. Great calamity is about to hit us, and it wouldn't be good for my wife and child if I had a wife and child now. Well, guess what there? You're just proving that you're still caught in an individualist mindset. I was there, so I can say it. What about the people that have to go through that? What about your people? We need to change our perspective from what is good for me to what benefits my people. How does my actions benefit our people, our collective? Because if you do things that benefit your collective, it will in turn benefit you because you are part of the collective. And there is nothing you can do to change that. You see? So don't say that you don't want children because things are bad. Go out there, start working on yourself so that you can start a family. Because you are denying our people your genetic lineage if you are refusing to have children because you do not believe in the future of our people. You not wanting to have children isn't because you're this good person that is thinking about your wife and your child's future. No, you aren't even attempting to give them a future. It is not moral what you're doing. What you are doing is the ultimate form of selfishness and cowardice, shrouded in this excuse of empathy. It is not. It is weakness, and it is cowardice, and it is amoral, and you should stop. I held these beliefs at a point, and I changed, and it has worked out great for me, and I am glad that I changed. And that's why I want to encourage you to do the same. The second point that I want to touch on is there are those that say things are not bad enough for us yet. And this always baffled me because I would look at how many people are not sure if they will have a job tomorrow because they are white in South Africa. How many people are not sure if they're going to be alive tomorrow because they might be killed by black on white violence? How many people already don't have something to eat, already do not have a job, already do not have a future? Yet there are some people that would say that things aren't bad enough yet, and we just need to wait because it's still going too well with our people. It still needs to get a little bit worse before it will get better. You know what? That is a despicable thing to say. And if you are one of those people parroting that, you need to do some deep introspection into what you are saying. Because you are not bringing an accusation against your people, you are bringing an accusation against yourself. Because it's not with your people that it is going well, but it is with you personally as an individual. And therefore you reflect that onto your own people. But we as a people are struggling, and those of us that have it better have no right to relish in our fortunes, while others have misfortunes. We need to struggle as a collective for a future that we all want to live in, for a future in which all of us that are part of our collective in-group have a future and have opportunity. That is moral. That is honorable, and that is noble. Anything but that is selfishness. And you need to stop right now. And if you hear people repeating these things, you need to confront them with it. Because we will not get change without struggle. Struggle is the only road towards change. It is the only way by which we will achieve change. It is the only mechanism that is a part of our spirit as white people. The third point that I want to touch on is those that refuse to work. I've actually touched on it, but I'll say it again. Those that refuse to work towards building a family have no hope for the future and they aren't akin to our struggle. I'll reiterate that because you need to get that. You need to understand that. If you are not having a family, you are denying your folk, your kinsmen, of your genetics. That is worse than somebody that has children and misguides them. Because you aren't even in the game. You aren't even in the struggle. You have given up. The next thing that I want to touch on is in South Africa. There's this very common, how do you say, phrase that the older generation say to us as young men. Those of us that want change always say that we want the war to start. We want to take back our fatherland because this is something that we yearn for deeply. And then they will refute it by the following phrase. They will say that we do not know war. And they are 100% right. We do not know war, but we do know slavery, and we are tired of it. We want a future that we believe in. We want a future in which we want to partake. And if that means that we need to struggle, we'll do it in any form. We'll give anything to achieve that. I no longer want to live in a country where I am dictated by blacks and people foreign to my race, foreign to my culture, and foreign to my natural hierarchy. I.e., I don't want a woman telling me what to do. I want society to return to what is natural and what comes natural to us and what works. And I'll give anything to achieve that. The only way forward is through struggle. There are practical things that we can do. You cannot give me the excuse that you don't know anybody. 4 years ago, I didn't know a single white nationalist, right? But I started joining groups. I started meeting people. I started meeting people online, and today I have a great deal of many white nationalist friends. To the point that we have held meetings together. We have started formulating plans. We have started working on solutions. So if I could do it, why can't you? There is no excuse for inaction. If you are not actively taking action towards this future, it only means that you do not believe in it. It only means that you do not want the change yourself. That is what it means. You can't blame the liberals for being the problem. The problem isn't the liberals. The problem is you. The problem is me and those that are not willing to act on the future that they want, that are not willing to act on their belief systems. So if you say you believe in your race first, if you say you believe in the future, then by God, you need to start acting upon it. It's the only way. I am very excited for the projects that we have launched. We have started a project which will potentially give young men an opportunity to earn their way and amongst brothers in an all-white community through a socialist system. And once we have perfected the system and made it repeatable, I would love to make a documentary about it and share it with you guys. If those that are involved obviously give their blessing for it. But the point that I'm trying to make here is that there is no excuse for inaction. There is no excuse for nihilism. You need to start getting active. This has been the first episode of MANologue, where I share my thoughts with you regarding actual things that afflict our people. It's part of the Man vs. Modernity podcast, and another series that we're going to bring about is testimonies. So if you're listening to this, I would love for you to comment, whether it be on Telegram, Odyssey, BitChute, YouTube, wherever. Leave a comment giving us maybe a brief description of how you have changed your life, or of how you have started to participate in our future. And then we will look through that, and we want to start a series in which we bring you on and you give your little testimony so that people can see that things are changing. Right now, it's in a very incremental phase. It's in a very small phase. Let me give you the example. Our project revolves around helping young guys to start up as farmers. And I gave 9 female sheep, ewes, I sponsored for this project. 9. That is so insignificant. However, when I drove to my friend's farm, taking these 9 sheep to deliver it to my friend, there has been very little feelings that could come close to the excitement that I had driving there, knowing that I am busy partaking in something that could bring about change. So if I could do it, so can you. Please leave your comments. Please share this message around if you liked it. Share it with your friends. Don't just keep this to yourself. It is only through collective action that we will reclaim our fatherlands. It's been fun talking to you guys, and I hope to see you in the next episode of MANologues or in the next episode of Testimonies. Stay safe, everybody, and remember, change only comes through struggle. And we can only claim to believe if we are willing to act upon what we say we believe. Stay safe, everybody.